Okay, today I am installing inlet and outlet ports, as well as an inlet port for the solar panels themselves, so that I don't have to run the cables through my hatch or through a cracked open window. And so I purchased these inlet and output ports from Amazon, and I've drilled a 1 3/4 inch hole with a hole saw into the back panel of the minivan to get started. I was able to take off the interior panels from both sides, because I plan on finishing the inside with some kind of nice wood, or I don't know, some kind of easily altered wood paneling, and I'm planning on taking out the carpet as well. So I haven't done those things yet. I've just taken out the side panels. So to get access really to the area where I can actually use these inlet and outlet ports, and I will clean with isopropyl alcohol. This is 91%. I'm not sure if it would matter at all if it was the 70% or whatever that is. That's usually being sold alongside the 91%. But cleaning the area where the sealant is going to go. And this is the first time I've ever done it. I really don't know what I'm doing. I've got the GoPro on my shirt attached with a clip, so I'm not always getting the correct central focus. But here's the 3M marine grade silicone sealant, and I'm pointing out that it doesn't have the puncture cap. They usually come with a cap with a sharp nipple in a recessed area on the top, so you can turn it over and puncture the metal seal. So I took a pencil and my big mistake here was that I didn't wire the wires to the little attachment points first, because later it becomes obvious that if you do it the way I do it, you lose access to those side screws that you need to tighten once you get the wires in the entry points at the very back of the ports. So I did this with both the inlet and the outlet port side by side, so they're not really accessible unless I did happen to purchase a bent screwdriver. It's like a Phillips head screwdriver that's got a bend to it, so it's able to access areas that are within an inch or so of whatever is blocking the way of a screwdriver. Hopefully that will work. Here I'm squishing the sealant out, and now I need to quickly wipe away the excess before it gets tacky. That stuff is clear, so you can't tell where it is, and it's oily. It feels oily. It comes off fairly easily. It's got a strong smell, like I guess kind of like sweet vinegar. And my thoughts here are that I could possibly allow the sealant to dry and then come back the next day and put the screws in. These both come with two self-tapping metal screws. And instead of doing that, instead of waiting, I'm going to go ahead and try and see if I can't put those screws in right away. Getting the flipper part of it to be straight up and down was really kind of hard because I couldn't really see when it was completely vertical. And then I'm afraid to move the sealant because that could compromise it. So I got it as close as I could get it, and then I went ahead and did the next one fairly quickly. That's a pretty good hole saw system. It's hard to tell when a company is going to be decent. Haichika. I said it's Chinese. It could be it could be German. I don't know. It's probably Chinese. Most things are now. The Ryobi is definitely Chinese. That drill bit is... Oh, and I think the drill bit is made in the USA. I got a packet of those. They're very high quality. They were fairly inexpensive too. I think those might be made in the US. And I had some difficulty getting the self-tapping screws out of the bag that has the little staple. Little things like this are really annoying. It's almost like you need a separate work area just for these packaging components, even the boxes. It's like everybody needs like a packaging room, and it would have all kinds of tools and resources for dealing with boxes and staples and baggies and bags and tapes, different types of tapes and glues. And this self-tapping screw simply would not self-tap. But I was trying to push it through that fresh sealant. That might have had something to do with the failure here, where this what actually happened was the drill bit wasn't tight enough in the drill, and it went tilty. But I had been working on that for quite a while with medium pressure. If you go strong pressure, things are always going to fail. And then you'll see that coming up when I try it with to put a starter hole in with a small drill bit in the next couple of minutes. Because the drill bit, I imagine that the reason the drill bit broke was that the sheet metal of the car's surface was too pliant, and it created a deformation as the drill bit was beginning to enter into the hole making stage. That's my theory. But I've moved on from there, and I'm now making sure that they're as vertical and matching as possible. And that's the solar SAE input port. And this is the view. You can see where the sealant I wiped away, actually I added more sealant on the inside to complete the actual seal on the inside, and then I wiped it away, and there's some left over there, but that's okay because it'll be covered with paneling, and I may even move some of the solar power components around instead of having them. And now you can see that I used these self-tapping screws that I had purchased earlier for the aluminum frame to hold the solar panels onto the roof rack rails. But I didn't end up using any of those self-tapping screws that came with the ports themselves. These actually worked really great. And now I just have to attach the cabling on the inside. The SAE solar input cables that's virtually ready to go. All I have to do is connect the longer cable to the solar charge controller, or leave it in that area, because that's where I would continue to unplug it and plug the roof rack solar panels in when I'm driving around. I'm pointing out here how silly it was of me to not realize that I would need some space to get into the screw areas with a screwdriver to attach the cables. And I don't know if it's a hobby that I have where I come down on myself and I get some kind of jolly out of that. I don't realize, what's going on with that. But I seem to really enjoy being angry at myself for the littlest screw up, because I can easily take those out and redo the sealant, but I'm going to try and use those little angle screwdriver things that I have. So that's it. It was really, really easy, but your heart goes right into your throat when you're screwing the hole saw into the side of your car. I imagine it's the same feeling for people with camper vans, because if you make a mistake and you can't fix the mistake, everybody in the world that you go by with your vehicle or who sees that is going to think you're a Nimrod. But that's the cable that I plan on cutting off the outlet side and attaching it to the outlet there, the outlet port. And the inlet one, where I would take like shore power in, that I can just use another, I guess they're 13 amp cables. They're household cables, but they carry around 1500 watts. So they're pretty much generic use. Oh yeah, now I'm mocking myself for having such a clean and organized area to work with. But I'm planning on having some kind of storage drawers